Hi everybody, welcome to Sam's Doing Stuff. What am I doing today? Well, today we're gonna learn what it takes to add 400 watts of solar to just about anything. So why solar? Well, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I love firewood. And when I got into solar, I started thinking this is so much like firewood. It's renewable, it comes from nature, once you make your initial investment, it's pretty much free energy, and it's kind of like sticking it to the man, you know? Once you get everything set up, you get to create your own electricity for free. So in this video, we are going to go through every component you need for this 400 watt system, and I'm gonna talk like we're 4 years old. It's the way I learn best. I don't wanna get complicated and get all technical. I'm not a licensed electrician. I'm not an engineer. I'm just a regular guy like maybe you are, and I want to get power where there is no power. The way I got into this is I started with just like this normal camping system. You know, you got your little power station here, and you buy a solar panel and you can charge this baby up. Now, why? Why would you want this? Well, you might want it for, you know, just something to power your coffee maker, or have some lights at night when the sun goes down, and maybe you just want to charge your phone all overnight. I don't know. Have a white noise machine while you're sleeping. There's tons of reasons why you would do this. And you could just get a basic solar panel like this one. It's just a portable fold-up solar panel. Comes with all the wires that you need. And then you get one of these little portable power stations. You set it up, you plug it in, and boom, you're charging. Now this is a great setup for just a couple of nights of off-grid camping. Like I said, you can charge your phone, you can make your coffee in the morning, blah, 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 blah. But it's small. All the components are very small, which of course means it's not very powerful, it's not gonna last very long. I want something bigger for the barn. So here we are inside my barn. I'm gonna lay out everything so we can talk about it one piece at a time. Now, solar isn't magic, but once you understand the 5 main components, and I'll show you here in this graphic, it becomes pretty simple. We're gonna go over everything and what it does, how much each one costs, and what a whole kit might cost you in the long run. So this in here is a solar panel. And you might think, well, of course, that's the first component to solar, but it's not. The first component is the sun. Yes, I know, we're really gonna dumb this down. The sun, you feel its energy every day, you feel the heat, you see the light, but you don't see everything. You don't see everything that the sun's providing. The solar panel does. Now let's talk a little bit more about the sun. I live in Northeast Ohio. We get not a lot of sun. But it's not like Iceland, you know, and it's not like Arizona. We get enough, you know, enough that a solar system like this or a solar kit like this is gonna be worth it. So there's the sun. As long as you've got enough of that, then you can move on to this. So this is a 100 watt solar panel. It will provide you with 100 watts of power. We're gonna build a 400 watt system. The reason we're gonna do that is because the next component that we put with this takes about 400 watts of solar energy. And that's typically where your next component is going to land. So we'll just start with one 100 watt panel. This is what the backside is typically gonna look like. The wiring is there, ready to accept more wiring. We'll get to that in a minute. But there's usually wiring on the back with this certain type of connector. This is specific to solar. It's pretty much universal. So you're gonna find this type of a connection on the back of your solar panel. And then on the front, it's exactly what you would think. If you've ever seen a solar panel before, this is what they all look like. It's a black surface with like some silver lines and stuff in it. Anyway, this is what's gonna catch all of your sunlight. Now think of it as a rain collection system, and the roof of your building is your solar panel. All of that rainwater runs off of your roof and it needs to be channeled into something. Well, all of the sun gets channeled into these wires, and now we have to connect all of these wires together. Your typical cost for a 100-watt solar panel is going to be between $60 to $100 each. So for 400 watts, you're going to end up with $250 to $400 cost. Now these are about the silliest looking part of the whole system, but they're also extremely important because we're going to be taking 4 of those 100-watt panels and channeling them all down into a positive and a negative. With wiring and electrical, usually you have a positive and you have a negative. Well, with solar, it's the same thing. So we're going to take the 2 wires, the positive and negative on that solar panel, and then the 2 wires on the additional solar panels, total of 4, and we're going to have to connect them all down into just 1 positive and 1 negative. It's like you're taking a bunch of hoses and connecting all the hoses together, or a bunch of roofs for the runoff for the water. You get what I'm saying, all down into one channel. So these Y connectors have male and female connectors on each end. Usually, typically, your negatives are going to be male and they'll need to go into the females, or vice versa. You can easily tell which is which and which positive or negative gets plugged into each. As you go down the line, you're going to have and need a total of 6 sets of Y connectors for a 4 100-watt panel system. And the reason for that is, let's just take your negatives, for example. If you take the negatives from 2 separate solar panels, or I think in this case we're going positive, either way, you're taking whatever goes, your females that go to the males, you're connecting those together. Well, then you're going to need those connected together again. So these will plug together, and now you're taking 4 separate connections and bringing it down to 1. What that's going to do eventually is you will have, see this? Your 4 female connectors. They'll go into another set just like this. So whichever's your positive and whichever's your negative, you've just taken all 4 of your positives or negatives and made them go down to 1. That's why you're going to need 6 of them. Y connectors are not expensive, probably budget somewhere around $25. All right, we've got all of our positives and all of our negatives from all 4 of our 100-watt panels. So we have 400 watts of solar electricity channeled down through Y connectors to 1 positive and 1 negative. Now we need wire. Now this is a specific type of wire. It is specially made for solar. It is a thicker wire that's meant to handle the amount of volts that are going through it. And it also has, as you see on the end, your solar connectors on one end, and then on the other ends, it's just got bare wire. You pull this insulation off and you've just got bare wire. That's going to connect into your next component. This part connects to those 2 positive, negative solar connections that we just created off of all those Ys. That's where this connects. Now this wire is specially made for UV. It's going to be outside, you know, for weathering and staying in good condition due to the elements. So you got to get the right type of wire with the right type of connectors to go into your next component. Don't cheap out on your solar wire. 20 to 40 feet might cost you 20 to 50 bucks for a pair. You may need longer wires, so maybe budget $100. The next component you're going to need is a solar controller. This is an MPPT controller. That means maximum power point tracking. That's a fancy name that you can just forget. Just make sure it's an MPPT controller. Now the connections on this solar charge controller are very self-explanatory. As a matter of fact, they're teaching us like we're 4, which is wonderful. There's pictures right here. So right here in the middle, you've got a picture of a battery. That's obviously where the battery gets connected. And over here, this is where your solar panels get connected. Now what does a charge controller do? Well, think of this, if we're thinking of like rainwater runoff, this is like your faucet. So you've got all of this water running down your roof and it's going through all of your pipes and tubes and everything down to 2, and it's coming like gangbusters. Well, the charge controller says, whoa, slow down. We'll take all of that water or all of that electricity and we're going to channel it into the battery at a rate in which the battery can handle it. If you didn't have this, it would destroy your batteries. Now taking one step back, let's remember our solar wire here. It's got two solar connectors. We've got positive and negative, and then on this end, it's two bare wires, positive and negative. They're gonna plug into right here. They made it simple for us. There's a solar panel. So we got plus and minus marked on there. Your positive is usually red and your black is usually negative. That's what it's gonna be in this system. So red and black are gonna plug into this MPPT controller right where it shows. The typical cost for a 40 amp MPPT charger is gonna be between $80 and $180. Don't cheap out on that either. If you'd like, you can go to Power Queen's website to find the MPPT solar controller that I had. Once again, probably budget somewhere between 100 to 200 bucks. So of course, after our solar charge controller, we are going to need wire. We're gonna have to wire that charge controller to a battery. So typically, an MPPT controller might come with wire. You might have to buy it. It's not super thick. It's about the same thickness as like a regular extension cord, but on one end, you're gonna have two ring connectors. That's gonna connect to the positive and the negative on your battery. And then on the other end, this one has a special connector. This is a XT60, or I think they just called T60 connectors. Anyway, it's just a little connector that you can plug together, and then this part is gonna go into your MPPT controller right where the picture of the battery is. So same thing, positive and negative. Red is positive, black is negative. This will plug in the bottom and you tighten those screws down, and then you've got a wire to go from your charge controller to your battery. This is the heart of your whole system, your battery. Think about it this way. Gas tank, you fill your gas tank, however big your gas tank is, that's how much fuel you have to power your vehicle. The sun is only out during the day. So the battery allows you to use electricity all the time. As long as the battery is full, you can make electricity. Speaking of this, like I said before, like firewood, it's pretty much the same thing. When you make firewood, you don't just go out, cut and split one stick and burn it, and then go out, cut another stick and burn it every time you need to feed the fire. No, you bulk all of your firewood together, get yourself a nice supply, and then use it a little bit at a time as you need it. The battery is the exact same thing. And this is a big battery. This is a big fuel tank. This is a huge stack of firewood. This is a Power Queen 320 amp hour battery. It's a smart edition, so it has Bluetooth and you can monitor it from your phone. The biggest part about this battery is the amount it will run once it's fully charged. Just to give you some examples, a 12 volt, 320 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery stores about 4.1 kilowatt hours of usable energy. What the heck does that mean? Well, it'll run a mini fridge for 60 to 65 hours. Mini fridge plus lights, battery chargers, and all the crap that I have in this barn, somewhere around 25 hours. 8 LED shop lights would run for 45 to 50 hours. Just to give you some basic numbers, a 100 watt load would be 38 to 40 hours, 200 watts, 19 to 20, and even 500 watts could run up to 8 hours. Now this battery, Power Queen is running promotional pricing right now. I will leave links in the description for any discount codes or any sales that they might be having. Everything will be listed in the description below. So you've got all of your solar energy going into your battery now. You are charging a battery, you are saving electricity, you are creating energy from the sun. This is a big step. Now you need to be able to use it. So we're gonna draw the electricity out of the battery, and what do we need to do that? We need some hefty cables. Usually number 2 gauge is what you need, and you don't wanna go very long with these. You want short, thick wires. You can buy these separately. Sometimes your next component that I'm about to talk about will come with wires. Kits, when you buy an entire kit together, should have all of the wires for you. But if you're buying this stuff separately, number 2 gauge, thick, short wires are gonna go to your next component. And that's called an inverter. This is a Power Queen 2000 watt pure sine inverter. What does it do? Well, it's a translator. You got 12 volts coming from your battery. And obviously you don't power your coffee machine with 12 volts. You power it with 110 volts. In America, it's 60 hertz. 60 hertz, 110 volts. So we got to take 12 volt DC direct current, and we have to interpret that and change it to 110 volt AC alternating current. We're not going to get into all the details about that, but that's what this thing does. So those big thick wires I just showed you are going to connect on the back here. You got a red and a black, positive, negative, and you'll just screw those little loops right onto there. Now, when you connect your wires to the battery and then you connect them to this, you're going to connect your negative first, and then you're going to connect your positive. When you connect your positive to your inverter, you're probably going to see a little spark. That's totally normal. It's just a little bit of a spark. We're going to get into all that in a separate video. So you got to keep watching. You got to subscribe. You've got to follow along, because we're going to install an entire 400 watt solar kit on this barn in my next video. So make sure you're subscribed and make sure you got the notifications, because you're going to want to see it. The cost for a 2,000 watt pure sine wave inverter, that's going to be a little pricey, anywhere between $180 to $350, depending on what you get. It's also an important part of this, so don't cheap out. Go ahead and budget a little bit more for it and get a good one. On the other end of your inverter, there's just a little screen here. It's going to give you some information, how much wattage or whatever's coming through. That's neither here nor there. These are the real important parts, because this is familiar to us. We know what this is. This is an outlet. This is where you can plug in your coffee maker or your CPAP machine or your lights or whatever you need to plug in. You can plug right into here just like normal. It looks like what we're used to. And that's what our goal is, to finally be able to use the electricity that we harnessed from the sun, channeled into a battery, stored, and now we get to use it for free. So with the ranges and pricing that I showed you, plus miscellaneous hardware, you're probably estimating around a $1,500 to $2,000 budget for this entire kit. You can also find kits that are pre-made that might save you a couple bucks, depending on what brand you go with. But if you're going to Power Queen's website, you're going to get some very high quality equipment, and you're not going to be disappointed with what you have. So budget somewhere for the whole kit between $1,500 to $2,000. 5 components. That's all you need. Well, that and the sun. If you include the sun, it's 6 components. But anyway, solar panel through your wiring to an MPPT solar charge controller, through more wiring into a battery, through some thicker wiring into your 2,000 watt inverter, and then you plug whatever you want in and you use your free electricity. That's as simple as I can lay it out for you. Once again, you're gonna wanna tune in on the next video, because I'm gonna take an entire solar kit and we're gonna actually do the work together. Well, I'm gonna do all the work, you're gonna watch and enjoy it. But you gotta click all those buttons, you gotta subscribe. This is not normally what I do. I'm just trying to improve this barn. We made some firewood references because I like to make firewood. Getting this barn up to, just as good as it can get. It seems like every time I turn around, I'm doing something new with it. But if you wanna find out what I'm doing next time and you wanna follow along with the journey, you just never know. You'll just have to watch and see what I'm doing next time when I'm doing more stuff.